Ladies and gentlemen, I am honored to be here because this state has been very good to me, and I tried to be good to you. I think things were better in New Hampshire when I left office than when I came. Unfortunately, we made a decision in 2000 to reverse all the policies that made it better. And we are living with the consequences at home and around the world. I have some sense of what is at stake in this election. In many ways, it is a more urgent election than ours was in 1992. For all the economic problems we had here at home, which have reared their ugly head again, at least we weren't so disliked around the world at the same time. And we didn't have our military dangerously overstretched, unable to pursue its legitimate adversaries because of our overcommitment in Iraq. We have had now another 7 years where incomes are stagnant and inequality is going up. And I see these problems in America and around the world now in a different way because I'm not president. I just run my foundation and I go around and have time that I didn't used to have to talk to people and see them and see how the healthcare crisis is playing out, see how the energy crisis is playing out, see the phenomenal lost opportunities because we haven't adopted a serious approach to global warming that helps the economy. I see all these things in our country and around the world. We have to elect the best president this time.
Yeah, I know.
This is not about politics, this is about the future. I like being a Democrat in this election because I like all the people running. So if you came here to hear me say something bad about one of the others, you might as well go home now. I like them. I look forward to seeing what they have to say in the paper. I'm interested in their ideas about things. It makes me proud I'm a Democrat. I have no bad feelings about them. Heck, I even find some of the Republicans interesting. But I know this. I know we don't have a moment to waste to turn this country around, to restore our standing in the world, to deal with these issues. And I know, because I've been paying attention to this for more than 40 years now. Next year will be my 40th year as a voter. I hate to admit that. And I took it seriously when I was young. In the 40 years I've been voting in presidential races, Hillary is the best prepared to be president of any non-incumbent I ever had a chance to vote for. You just look at all the issues. She knows more about health care than anyone else and is committed to give us a good health care system with universal coverage that's secure, bringing costs in line with our competitors, promoting wellness as well as treating sickness. She got the best plan to give us a clean, green energy future that creates jobs, not costs jobs. She got the best plan on education from universal pre-kindergarten to opening the doors of college for all. And she would do more overnight to restore America's standing in the world. There was a Canadian firm published a poll last week of the American presidential race in most of the European countries and Canada. In every single country, with Hillary, all the Democrats and all the Republicans, they're all running against each other. In every single country, she had a majority of the vote or more of those who had already made up their minds. Now, in Germany, the largest country in Europe, there were 40% undecided, 45% for Hillary, 15% for all the other Republicans and Democrats put together. That's no disrespect to them. It just shows you what people around the world think of her, because she represented the United States in 82 countries. She served with distinction in those 8 years when I was president. She has served on the Armed Services Committee. She has gone repeatedly around the world working on not just military but diplomatic issues that are important to our future. We don't have a lot of time on this. You want to restore America's standing in the world overnight? Elect Hillary president. You'll get that done. So I think on the domestic issues and the global issues, it's a clear choice. But here's the thing that's most important to me. A lot of people made fun of me in 1992 when I came here and people were flat on their back and they were hurting, and I said, I feel your pain. And a lot of cynics in the press made fun of me. And a lot of my opponents in the Republican Party made fun of me. They acted like it was some phony deal. But I didn't have the easiest upbringing. I did feel your pain. I knew what you were going through. You need somebody in the White House who never forgets about you. And it's easy to forget when you're president. You fly around on your own plane and it's a real nice one. They play a song every time you walk in a room. You don't even have to push the buttons on your own elevator. People wait on you hand and foot, and you can be isolated, and everybody's reluctant to tell you bad news. And it's just easy to forget that there's a whole world out there of people with hopes and dreams and fears and problems and enormous possibility. You want somebody in that office that won't forget. So, here's the most important thing of all. Hillary just went to the State Fair in New York, and I didn't get to go for the first time in 7 years because I was taping Oprah's show for this book I've got coming out next week. So I read all the newspaper columns. The head of the Farm Bureau in a little county in upstate New York saying, big Republican county, saying, all I know is I've always met with her face to face, I've looked at her across the table, and she has always been true in our dealings together. That could be why she carried 90% of the counties in New York that President Bush carried in 2004 and got nearly 60% of the vote in the Bush counties running for re-election. Because she has always been true. A few weeks ago, a friend of mine from out west called and asked me if I would take him to play golf at a nice golf course near my home. And I'm not running for anything. I can play golf. I can do that. So I took him and his two friends out. We got a caddy because they'd never seen the course before. We play the first hole. The other three guys walk off. I'm walking off. And for the only time in my long life, a caddy reached out and physically restrained me from walking off the green. He said, wait, this may be the only chance I have to tell you this. He said, you don't know me, do you? And I said, no, sir, I don't think I've ever met you. He said, that's because I'm not really a caddy. In my real life, he said, I'm just here supplementing my income. In my real life, I am a captain in the New York City Fire Department. And he said, on 9/11, that terrible day, when we went down there to do our duty, and some of us to die, and we were breathing all that stuff, your wife knew immediately, that many of us would get sick and some of us would die because of what we breathed, doing our duty on that day and the days afterward. And she began to fight for us on that day, and she never stopped. And when the government denied repeatedly for months and months and months, over a year, that anything could possibly have happened to us because of what we breathed that day, she just kept standing up for us. And what I want you to know is that some of us who would have died lived because of her fight. And those who died, at least their families, can live in greater dignity because she fought for us, often alone. And he said, you know, before 9/11, most of us firefighters, we thought we were Republicans. We liked all that tough talk and everything. But when the chips were down, she was there. He said, my dad was an Irish immigrant butcher from Staten Island. We need somebody in the White House that thinks about people like us, that doesn't forget. He said, I'll never forget what she did, and I will do everything I can to make her the next president. And so should you. Thank you very much.